their definition of innovation was pretty clear. Was innovation is idea that makes money. So it was not just having fresh ideas or conducting research. We needed to transform it into real kind of business outcomes. If you get a machine learning AI doctor and put him in a specific project that is just delivery software interface, he'll get frustrated soon. So how we can balance? We still have business as usual. We still have all those type of tasks, but how we can create the environment and for them to work on what excites them. I think the first thing is all of us are decision scientists. Maybe come with more maybe analytical mindset. Other ones, as I said before, more artistic way. So don't shy yourself if you're not good in math before.
Welcome to the Tech Waka Podcast, where we dive into the journeys of New Zealand's top tech leaders. Your host for today is Jakub, bringing you conversations with tech leaders and innovators from across Aotearoa. Join us as we uncover the experiences, challenges, and successes that shape our tech community.
Welcome to the Tech Waka Podcast. Today's guest is Clarissa Côrtes Pires, Decision Science Capability Lead at Mercury NZ. With roots in academia and a PhD in Innovation Management, Clarissa bridges the worlds of research, analytics, and business strategy. In this episode, we dive into what real innovation looks like, how to build high-performing multidisciplinary data teams, and why you don't need to be good at math to step into decision science. Enjoy. Hi everyone. Hi Clarissa. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you, Jakub, for the invite. Really appreciate the invite. Really happy to be here.
You and I had the pleasure of working together a few years back, and you have a tremendous career journey going from PhD that you got in Brazil, if I remember correctly, and then you moved to industry, you started looking into innovation, ways of working, and now you are leading the decision science team at Mercury, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to maybe give us a bit of a color to that journey? How was it for you, and how did you end up where you are right now?
Yes, of course. I'll try to tell a little bit about my story without telling my age. I think I've been working on technology since ever. I did technical high school. So during the Millennium Bug, you can imagine, I was on a call. So yeah, long time ago. I graduated as a computer engineer. Had the opportunity to work a few years as a developer. Then I decided to do my master's in operational research, some statistical models. Then I went back to the organizations to lead some R&D projects. We had some R&D projects that we had a partnership with universities. And this is when I started my PhD in innovation management. So I stayed there for 5 years. We started from R&D projects until create this kind of a research unit. And then had the opportunity to work in a startup and move it to New Zealand. And in New Zealand, as you said, I had experience in different fields, different industries, from video gaming, airlines, and now Mercury Energy with the decision science. So it's pretty interesting learning.
And I guess in the middle of it is innovation. Maybe we can talk a bit about innovation and how do you define innovation, what it is, and maybe what it's not.
I think this is a good point because everyone talked about innovation. We can see innovation everywhere. It's a buzzword nowadays. It's been for a while, to be honest. But I think it's the first step if you want to work in the innovation space is to understand what your organization or your senior leaders define what innovation is. Because, with the internet and you can find any definitions for innovation. If you want to prove your work is innovation, probably you'll find an author that, tells you that your work is innovation. But I think the main thing is for your organization, for your company, what innovation means. So I used to work for a company at Siemens, and their definition of innovation was pretty clear. Was innovation is idea that makes money. So it was not just having fresh ideas or conducting research. We needed to transform it into real kind of business outcomes. And so if you have like a research for a product, you need to launch the product. If you had a software, it needs to go on live to have the output. If you have only a process improvement, you need to implement it. So this is what get the metrics around innovation. It's a good point to say that, of course, not all projects became product at the end. So those are like R&D. We did a lot of research and development product. But at the same time, all the projects that you are running, we try to get some value from that during the execution phase. So all the knowledge that we are getting, all the new capabilities that we are creating, even or intellectual property or patents or new algorithms that are not really you can use in the future for other projects. So all this way of thinking we had to have on the process. So I think this is one of the main important things. If you work with innovation, what innovation is.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's quite easy and cheap to have ideas. And I loved how you said that it's about having new ideas that's going to bring us money. So there's going to be some outcome out of that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Exactly. And I think defining what that means is the guide from strategy to execution. So, yeah. So when we are working there, we need to think if you want to be innovators, we need to just see how to translate this in outcomes. Don't need to be like a product, but if it's just a process improvement, how we can make that happen in the organization.
And how is it similar or different from decision science? And maybe what is decision science and what is data science? Tell us all about that.
Yes. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. So let's try to define what decision science is. So decision science as a field is an interdisciplinary field. And it combines data science. So when I say data science, I'm talking about analytics, statistics, even computer science, behavior science, and strategic thinking. So it's a mix of all those big disciplines. For me, I like to say that decision science is a mix of art and science. So we still have the structure of the science, mostly when you're doing the data science modeling or collecting your data, or doing a research, you have the defined steps, but you still need the art aspect. You still needed to have the interpretation, not interpretation only of the results, the math results, but interpretation of your business problem. Storytelling is really important, strategic thinking, and also decision science needs to consider the gut feeling. So if you're working with people. So I think this definition mixing those in the art aspect and the science is really important. So because maybe you can spend too much time in your analytical work and get a really beautiful result, but it's impractical. You cannot really put in place. Or you can just stay on the art, interpretation, design thinking, come with the insights, but never get the rigor of, okay, this is the real thing. So balancing both are really, really good. In decision science, and I will talk about R&D, not the innovation. Innovation is the second step, but R&D and decision science has a lot in common. So both fields, they work from hypothesis-driven approach. So it's not that you have like a clear task backlog at the beginning. So you always needed to understand what the problem is. You need to do a lot of experimentation, rate your solutions until you get something. At the end, it might work or not work. So yeah, we can say that this is really, really a similar of both fields. Other thing is usually they are data intensive type of work. So yeah, new data shape new products, new data feeds data science models. So those are kind of similarities that we have there as well. And I think one of the similarities that is the biggest challenge for both fields is to translate the result into the operational work, how to scale. So how hard is to launch a new product in the market, or how hard might be to deploy to production a machine learning model. So all these kind of things, I think they're very, very, very similar work. Yeah. So there are a few skills that I learned during my career that I think make sense to work now. This is from...
What are those skills? I'm interested now.
I think it is a little bit about project management skills that you need to have. Agile, that is good. But you need to understand that it's not just using the frameworks the same way. You need to understand the difference between creating like a product that you already know the steps to something that you need to experiment. But I think the best skills is how to work with those diverse teams. So usually there's another similarity is the team, not the team structure, but the team members, skills and competences. Usually if you're doing an R&D project, you have different types of engineers working with business experts, with scientists, and everybody had their own kind of uniqueness in the project. In decision science, the same. So you can have like a data scientists with business domain experts, with data engineers, so all of them working together to find something different or get some insights of the information that they have. So I think understanding people is really, really important. Understanding, and mostly here in New Zealand, that we have a team that has a different cultural background as well. So yeah, I'm from Brazil. We have worked with a lot of people from China, India, Kiwi. So how I can understand all this dynamic as well. So this is really, really important. And so it's kind of the thing that you are building and you're learning, make mistakes during your career, and you get, okay, now I know how to deal with this different situation. Yeah.
And you started talking about the team, and I'm really curious, what's the getting closer to the makeup of your team, and who do you have in your team, and how do you manage that? Because I'm guessing it's a bit different compared to your typical software product development team, right? So tell us a bit more
Yes.
about that.
Yes. So in our team, we have economists. We have most of the team is composed of data scientists and insights and visualization analysts, so how to tell the storytelling. We work closely, not part of our team, but we work close with the data engineers and technology people, and also with the business product owners or business owners. So even it's nice to have the space, the COE, the Center of Excellence, to be able to experiment without operation disruption. Is we have it work really close with the business to be able to help them to make better decisions, right? So, but most of our team is our data science. Yeah, composed of data scientists, economists, people from analytical background. Yeah, we work close with design thinking people that can help us to facilitate some of the conversations that you might have.
Oh, it is fascinating, especially you mentioned this very different skill set of having an economist, data scientist, product people, design people. It is really fascinating. Are there any maybe challenges that you've seen of getting these people to work together?
I think the main challenge usually is those people are more intelligent than me. And so I think the key to help this team to succeed is really giving them the space and time to an appreciation about their work. So their own expertise. So they need to understand, they need to be in the project and understand everything they learn and they spend time studying, they can apply. So I think this is really, really important for this team. So sometimes we need a little bit more of time for them to do their magic than really okay, let's just do a sprint and get things done. So this is, I think, is something that is really important. Also, how we can really collaborate with other areas to achieve the value. So I think the most important thing from helping this team to succeed and keep people excited and patient about the work is really giving them the time and the space and understand the project they are doing. If you get a machine learning AI doctor and put him in a specific project that is just delivery software interface, he'll get frustrated soon. So how we can balance, we still have business as usual, we still have all those type of tasks, but how we can create the environment and for them to work on what excites them.
And you just mentioned that you have doctors in your team. I think that's fascinating because we got our PhD degrees and then we moved in industry and business. And I would love to hear your experience of how did you make that happen, and maybe if there's anything else or any tips for other people looking into that transition, and how do you work with your people in your teams who maybe are more used to long-term research and having research plans and discussing papers or reading papers. Often in a business settings, we don't have
Yeah.
luxury of time. How do you help your
Yes.
team navigate? So it's a maybe large question, but yeah, go on.
No, that is excellent. Start from the beginning. I was lucky because I started working first, and then I stopped to do my master. It was full-time academic. But when I started my PhD, I was back to the industry, so I could manage both. What was good because my PhD ended up talking about partnership with universities, how this helps to lead to innovation. So I always had like one leg on academic world and one leg on the industry world, but it's a good thing. So when we're talking about partnership with universities and okay, students work for us, there are a lot of difference in the types of work. And as you said, usually if you're doing your PhD 4 or 5 years, you have a lot of time to spend in research and study. And in the organization, we have competitors, we have things happening. We need to be very agile. So how to manage this? So usually when we work with partnership with university, we try to scope really the type of work that you want from them. Sometimes you just want to research, and that is fine. We put this on our kind of our backlog, keep it on the mind, and the students can keep doing the research and they share the findings after. But when you wanna, let's grab some data science to help us with the specific model. So we had that scoped really clear to help us there. In our team, mostly of the PhDs that we have there, the doctors, we encourage them to go to the university and doing the student. So this is a part of a work that we do in the capability creation about what really excites you about the work, how we can help you to get there. We really encourage people to go in and pursuing the more knowledge, academic credentials. I think this is really important. So back in Brazil, when I was working at Siemens, we had like some doctors that came direct from the universities. So these are the hardest sometimes to adjust with the team. It's more around how we make time for them to have the time to do their research and do their job. Yeah, so I think in our current team, what we do, we try to organize really personal time for them. We're designing a career plan, a career journey where we can fit some of the things they want to study or learn. We have a few sessions where they can share what they're learning with others. So we praise a lot of mentoring from the seniors. And this is usually what people that follows academia likes, their teacher, how to share the knowledge. So open space for them, do what they like. I think it's really important. So I think this is kind of how we can balance. We have to have this reality check. Again, you are not in the academia anymore. It's different when you're studying there with your professors and when you're working at some.
And if we take into account that you work for Mercury and energy industry is traditionally risk averse and highly regulated, how do you approach innovation in that scenario?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if I can answer for the entire organization. We have different areas there. We, in our Center of Excellence, we were trying to support the decision-making process around the organization. So things that we do is modeling our generation sites. So how can optimizing the generation sites that we had. So it's more like the modeling side and how this can help the owners of the area to take better decision. So this is kind of the work that we do. There are conversations about AI and how to add AI in different spaces of the organization. But of course, we always needed to understand where we can put it is and how to do that, considering data privacy and sensitive topics that you might have. So it's always, we have the security, the privacy boards that needs to check the legal, even when we're talking about partnership university and they're talking about data, are you sharing the data? We can share what we can do respect all the boundaries that we need. So as you said, we are really a high regulated industry. So how we can do this right? So one of the advantage of having the center of excellence is that we can try to do things outside interrupting the business. So we try modeling new things that might be usable for the organization or not. So I think this is one of the ways that we do. And of course, they have a big, like, okay, how we can do Industry 4.0 in the organization. They have like a more big strategy roadmap to see what the technology and the science can fit in.
And you mentioned AI, and I wonder how much of the AI solutions you build yourself, how much do you use what's available on off the shelf, how do you mix all of that, and how do you even stay up to date? Because that's what I struggle with, where every week there is new model, new version, new tool. It's
You know
so
what?
hard. How do you deal with that?
We are developing AI strategy around the organization with different areas. So there are technology, there is the decision science work, and all the other business units that we have. We have been trying to launch new models ourselves, new algorithm. Of course, we always have all the technology behind support us, but things about understanding the customers, why they're calling us, what the main problems they're trying. So things about using those kind of technology to give us more understanding about our services and how we can provide this better, understand how our machines work, how to do maintenance. So there are few fields that we are trying to help. But mostly what we have now is kind of a roadmap with areas we could try, where are proof of concept for employees. So how we can use AI today to a Copilot to help us coding and yeah, all these things. So it's more like a strategic point for our team is we are trying to be on the top of the AI because most of the teams that are scientists, we have a PhD doctor in machine learning. So yeah, so how we can keep studying, keep seeing what is coming, what is the best for us, but then be realistic. We need to go to the technology process as this, and all have the money and all this, how to balance the budgeting with the new things, the new value that this can bring to us. Yeah, so it's it's a journey itself.
Oh yeah, yeah. And if we can go back maybe to your team, and I just
Yeah.
realized, you get to work with really smart people who have PhDs, probably in areas that maybe you don't know so much about. How do you help them with their career development, and with, how do you feel about actually working with them where imposter syndrome can be quite high?
Yeah, this is really good point. If a syndrome is always high, I always like to have to check myself. Yeah, no, it's a good point. What we try to do there with this team is really understanding what do we want from them from capability point of view. So what is good for the organization and what the capability that we need, that we want the organization to have. So for example, talk about AI, machine learning is something that you want the organization to have. So we start from the top. This is what we need. And then we come with the competence that we need to get in the team. So we need to hire someone. Can we develop internally? So it's kind of a mapping what we need, the opportunities that we have for the business and how we can help people to get there. Usually when people are reported to me, we have really coaching and mentoring sessions. We create a personal development plan. We try to align with the OKRs part of what they're developing themselves. But we have principles in the team. So when the thing is really, really technical, we needed to, okay, let's check this model. Let's see if the code is good. It's not me. I can give some, yeah, okay, let's check. But we have the experts that is coming and then try. Yeah. So this is how we balance okay, how can I help them to grow in disciplines that I don't know, I cannot teach them, but I know they are necessary for the organization, and how to get the support to help them guide through their challenge, their technical challenge they might have. So I think it's all around understand where they want to get, what the type of training. We always ask, okay, do you want to do some new training? Is there something that you have in mind? For example, we have a course review platform. So usually they come, oh, that is this new course. And okay, so this is part of personal time and personal development plan. Why this is important to us and important to the company. Yeah, so this is the kind of the conversation that we have. And then we have all the practice, the decision science practice to support if what they are creating, the models are being peer reviewed and their technical guidance there. So yeah, it's a journey.
And I remember that a few weeks back you shared on LinkedIn the career journey framework that you have created. Do you use that in your conversation as well? How is it different from a traditional
Yes, we
career
can.
path approach?
I think the main idea is we are not talking about how I can grow from junior to
Yes.
senior to manager and be the CEO, whatever. You can still do that if you want, but how I can help people grow in different skills. So I can talk about myself, right? Ourselves. We started the technical space, computer engineer, and I went to the project management, and then I went to coaching and design thinking, and now decision science. So it's so many different disciplines that I went through. And sometimes in organization, we just focus on, okay, if you are a BA, you can be a senior BA. Maybe you can apply for product owner. Maybe you can, but can I be a BA and become a data scientist in the future? Of course you can, but what is the things that you need to learn to get there? So I think this is kind of the difference from a traditional career path. So it's saying there are some kind of themes about finality and multi-finality. So where do you start and what you want to achieve? There are so many different ways of getting there. I think this is one thing that is really, really important in the career. And I think this helps because we still have the structure of the organization. So how I can say that you are senior than me if our pathways were so different, right? So how I can measure the things that you built and the things that I build and say, okay, we are the same level because I need to put you in the structure of the organization. So this is kind of the challenge that you try to say, okay, for decision science, if someone tell me, I want to spend a training storytelling, can I go to the theater and do a course? It's important. So, but then you are less than the other person that just look how we can manage this. So what is kind of a gamifying model. So it's the things that you're building in your journey during your career, and how this will help you to build maybe your avatar, your character, to get there.
So in the framework, and I will make sure the link to your LinkedIn post is in the show description. In that framework, you have these different tiles that are kind of sitting next to each other. Is the aim to go through all of the tiles, or is it kind of someone? No,
not really. Yeah. It's something that I cannot share yet because it's still in the adjustment, the HR. But when we have it with something really, I think really cool. But the idea is not to get every there is where you want to go. So in our team, we talk about 3 different pathways. So if you're here, you can become in the technology space. So it's the guy that I just want to study technology. I'm maybe the introvert geek guy that just want to do AI, machine learning, and models and go there. Even they know they can grow their career, they still have to mentor people and talk. They can go from the consultant side. So is the person that likes the business problem, like to sit and understand the business with something that we really need in decision science. I'll go more for the leadership side. So I want to mentor, I want to do coaching session, I want to facilitate discussions, or run maybe design thinking, collaborative sessions. So those kind of the 3 pillars that you're doing for our current team. And this help the tile where you want to, okay, which tiles do you need more than the others to prove that, you can be a researcher, innovator person, or you can be, people manager, scientist person, all the cool. We don't, doesn't matter what the top title, your title. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you're doing for. Yeah, will help us to get our objectives and success. So
I think what's also important is that the ability to learn, which I think is probably the one skill that is never going to go away, and ability to learn outside of your usual field, and then expand your horizons and understanding what you still don't know. I think that's really important for people.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe before we wrap up, Clarissa, is there a piece of advice you would give to someone who wants to move into decision science? I can imagine people hearing about AI and data science and all of these things happening around us. I think many people will start reevaluating their careers, and there might be engineers or leaders or designers who are looking into the data science, decision science, AI field, and then they may be wondering, how do I get my foot into the door? So do you have a piece of advice for them?
I think it's a good point. I think the first thing is all of us are decision scientists. Maybe some with more maybe analytical mindset. Other ones, as I said before, more artistic way. So don't shy yourself if you're not good in math before. So I think this is the first step. But I think the piece of advice is strategic thinking. So what you can do today that helps someone make decision can be on your place, in your home, on your organization. Then you can understand what the skills that you might need to get there. And I think this is really important in this new space, because even when we talk about AI, people think, oh, so it's just data science, modeling, and computer science that gets AI. And most of the organization and jobs that I've seen now talk about AI in a culture mindset change, right? So it's how to implement AI and how to deal with the internal people and employee. So I think this is my advice. All of us are decision scientists. You just need to understand what make you a decision scientist, what your key or strength or your key core activity there is. You're good on math, it is what you like to study, and then we have a place for sure. Or is something more around putting people together to discuss a solution and make a decision around things. So I think it's try not being shy. If you think you don't have the skills together.
I think you just boost my confidence.
You can be, you are a decision scientist. You can yourself.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. That was great conversation. I learned a lot. And thank you for spending the time with us.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. And hope to see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Tech Waka Podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation with Clarissa, share it with someone curious about innovation, AI, or building great data teams. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.